How repetition turns ideas into beliefs. Imagine hearing the same message over and over again. You hear on the radio. You see it in newspapers. You read it on posters. You hear friends repeat it. You hear leaders repeat it. Eventually, it seems like everyone is saying the same thing. At first, you may question the message. You may even disagree with it. But as time passes, something begins to happen. The message starts to feel familiar, and familiarity is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. Most people assume they believe things because they are true, but psychologists have discovered that people are often more likely to believe information simply because they have heard it repeatedly. This phenomenon is known as the Illusory Truth Effect. The human brain is constantly processing enormous amounts of information. To save energy, it relies on mental shortcuts. One of those shortcuts is familiarity. When an idea feels familiar, the brain often interprets that familiarity as evidence that the idea is trustworthy or accurate. The result is surprising. A statement does not always need to be true to be believed. Sometimes it only needs to be repeated. The Nazi Party understood this principle exceptionally well. Their messages appeared everywhere. The same slogans, the same promises, the same narratives. Again and again, day after day, year after year, citizens encountered these messages so frequently that they gradually became part of everyday life. And when an idea becomes part of everyday life, people often stop questioning it. It begins to feel normal. It begins to feel obvious. It begins to feel true. This is one of the reasons propaganda can be so effective. It does not always persuade people through logic. Instead, it persuades through repetition. The more often people encounter a message, the less likely they are to critically examine it. Psychologists have repeatedly demonstrated this effect in experiments. Participants are shown statements that are either true or false. Over time, the statements that are repeated are often rated as more believable than statements people see only once, even when participants know very little about the topic. Even when the statements are inaccurate, repetition creates familiarity, and familiarity creates belief. But this phenomenon is not limited to history. It exists today in advertising, in politics, in social media, in news cycles. Every day, people are exposed to repeated messages designed to influence how they think about the world. The more often a message appears, the more familiar it becomes. And the more familiar it becomes, the more powerful it can feel. This does not mean people are weak. It means people are human. Our brains evolved to process information efficiently, not perfectly, and that creates opportunities for influence. The story of Nazi Germany reminds us that ideas do not become powerful only because they are true. Sometimes they become powerful because they are repeated often enough, which raises an important question. How many of the beliefs we hold today are based on evidence, and how many simply became familiar through repetition? Understanding that difference may be one of the most important psychological skills a person can develop.